overnight tonight, not much of a problem, but the winds are going to be brisk throughout the period.
UPN 9's Emmy Award-winning Storm Field has been part of the Kid Witness News team for years.
I'm with a group of youngsters with Kid Witness News, an organization that is predicated on training talented young people to taking our jobs. I'll tell you more about
Not only sharing his broadcasting expertise, but also serving as Master of Ceremonies for the annual Kid Witness News New Vision Award ceremonies. Today, he not only takes us behind the scenes of New York's UPN 9, but also he'll guide us through the steps you need to take to turn your school into a real production studio.
It's probably one of the greatest careers you could choose. It's exciting, it's fun, and it's different. No two working days are ever the same. It's the world of broadcasting, and right now, thanks to Panasonic Kid Witness News and UPN 9, we're going to give you a first-hand look at how Kid Witness News just might change your life. Remember, it really doesn't matter whether you're in front of the camera or behind it. It's the team effort that's going to bring it all together. And as a team, the people at Panasonic, film students from Columbia University, your teachers and advisors are all going to be working together to show you how it's done, using the equipment Panasonic has provided for your Kid Witness News team. We'll explain pre-production and how a shoot comes together, production, how to write stories, how to conduct interviews, use of the camera, microphones, and lighting, and post-production, the art of editing what you've shot and putting your program on the air. So if you're ready, let's take a look at the equipment. Remember, save all parts and accessories, even the packing material. Review the instruction manuals and student training guidebooks and handle all the equipment with care. Also, remember to select a studio location, making sure the area is secure and has a power strip for electricity. Now I'd like to welcome Jackie Crossan, Alex Cabrera, and the Kid Witness News team from Theodore Roosevelt School in Weehawken, New Jersey. They're going to be taking you through the next important step in getting your new studio operational, the proper setup of each piece of equipment. All right, guys, it's all yours.
Okay, thanks, Storm. Here we go. After you unpack everything, store the boxes and save the instruction manuals.
Now we need to set up the studio, connecting all the equipment with the supplied cables.
First, open and extend the legs of the tripod to support the camera. Make sure the latches are snapped together tightly. Then, attach the camera plate to the base of the camera, using either a screwdriver or a coin. Nice and tight.
By pulling back the lever on the tripod, the camera, front and first, slips into the slot and is held in place. To remove the camera, pull back on the lever and lift off from the back.
Attach the battery to the camera by first sliding back the viewfinder. The battery, with the gold contacts facing down, slides in and snaps into place. You'll hear it click.
To remove the battery, slide the battery release tab up and lift the battery up and out. To charge the battery, slide it into the charger, again with the gold contacts facing down until it snaps into place, and the green charging light goes on. The battery will be fully charged when the green light goes out. It takes about an hour. The red light is always on, showing that it's plugged in.
To run the camera using the charger, which is also a power supply, remove the battery from the camera and plug in the black AC connector cord. One end into the camera, the other ends into the power supply.
Although this digital camera appears to be compact, believe me, it's loaded with features that will make your productions look spectacular.
And remember, as with all equipment, handle it with care.
First, with either the battery attached or with the camera plugged into the power supply, move the blue tape eject button to the right. That will open the tape compartment.
Insert a video cassette head first into the compartment and close it. You'll hear it snap shut. On the rear of the camera is a 4-position selector switch. Right now, it's in the off position. To record videotape, move the selector switch to camera. That turns it on. And don't forget to remove the lens cap.
You can look through the viewfinder or open the LCD screen by pushing the black LCD open button and swinging it outward. You'll notice you can swivel the screen all the way around, so you can get a view no matter where you're standing, like from a floor point of view or shooting over a crowd. Remember, the camera is designed for only one view at a time, so you can look through the viewfinder or the LCD screen.
The LCD screen uses a lot more battery power, so it's best to use the viewfinder when it's not plugged in. To play back what you shot on the camera, move the selector switch to VCR. On the side of the camera, you'll see buttons, just like on your VCR at home. They let you stop, rewind, play, fast forward, pause, and record. This record button, by the way, is used only for taping camera to camera or VCR to camera.
The M card position lets you use the memory card that's inside the LCD screen compartment. Bet you didn't know it, but this camcorder is also a digital still camera. We'll show you how in a minute.
Okay, to start recording video, move the selector switch to camera. Look through the viewfinder or watch the LCD screen and press the red record button. To stop recording, push the red button again.
To zoom in for a tight shot, push down the telephoto button. It has a T on it. To pull back, push down the wide angle button. That one has a W.
To get in really close, do it digitally by pushing the D-zoom button. To fade to black, push fade.
If you're shooting into bright sunlight, you may want to push the backlight button to balance the lighting levels. If it's really dark, slide the magic View OLux switch forward for a low light night vision effect in black and white. If you're shooting handheld or if you're walking or riding in a car, try the black EIS button. You'll see EIS in the viewfinder. This turns on the electronic image stabilization function, a fancy word for taking out the shake in the picture. Turn off the feature by pushing the button again. As we said before, your Kid Witness News camcorder can also take a digital still picture. Just aim the camera, frame the shot, and press the gray Photoshop button on the top of the camera. You can then attach the camera to a computer and using the software that came with the camera, look at the pictures and make prints.
Remember, steady shots are key, and the adjustable tripod is a critically important tool. The tripod is used to make sure your shots are steady, level, and smooth, especially for left to right pans and up and down tilts. And of course, if you're shooting on hilly or non-level surfaces. You can also use a wagon for a really cool dolly shot.
The editing deck is a lot like the VCR you have at home. The difference is this one has a built-in editing system.
Let's set it up, but don't plug in the power strip until you're all done with the connections.
The digital camcorder serves as the source and plays the footage you've just shot. The digital deck is the editor. First, let's connect the monitors.
Using an S-video cable, connect one end into the S-video jack on the camera. The other end goes into the back of the monitor, where it says S-video.
Do the same with the digital deck, connecting one end of an S-video cable to the output 1S1 jack on the rear, and the other end to the S-video in on the other monitor. Next, connect one end of the FireWire cable to the DV jack on the camera. The other end goes into the DV in-out jack on the digital deck. You'll hear the audio from the camcorder on its built-in speaker. To hear sound from the digital deck, connect a pair of RCA cables. On one end, plug in the red and white plugs into the left and right audio output channel jacks.
On the other end, attach one end of the Y connector to the red and white plugs. The other end into audio in on the monitor. Plug in all the AC cables and turn on the power. Press the video select button on the front panel of both TV monitors until video 3 is displayed on the screen.
Now press the open-close button on the digital editing deck to reveal the control panel. Using the input select button on either the removable control panel or just to the right on the deck itself, push it until the yellow DV in light is shown on the lighted display. Move the edit mode switch to recorder and the other edit mode switch to DV. When using VHS material in your program, you need to transfer the VHS footage to digital tape first.
Connect one end of a video cable to the video output jack on the rear panel of the VHS deck. Connect the other end to the video input jack on the back of the digital deck. Do the same for audio. One end to audio out on the VHS, the other end to audio in on the digital deck.
Press the open-close button on the digital editing deck to get to the control panel. Using the input select button, push it until A2 is shown on the lighted display. Now you can make a simple transfer. You can now use the digital cassette in your camera as the source for your footage.
Okay, your studio is now ready to go.
Storm?
Okay, thanks guys. Now let's make some television. I'm gonna put this away first. No, they're not golf clubs. The first thing in pre-production is figuring out what it is you want to say. What's the message? How to convey it? And what are the best techniques to use to provide the greatest impact to the viewer? What kind of music will you use? What types of special effects? What about camera angles and close-ups? This becomes the story outline or storyboard. This is where you determine what the story is, the elements you need to put the package together, and the shots you need. Remember, television is a visual medium, so your pictures are very important in helping you tell the story. In a real newsroom, it's a total team effort. An assignment editor puts the reporter and crew together to assemble a story. For you, both in front of the camera and behind it, you're going to need a crew which includes a writer, a camera person, a director, on-camera cast members or actors, props, location, special effects, picture and sound, an editor, and most importantly, a deadline. How much time will you really need to finish the project? Columbia University's Film Division in New York City is also lending a helping hand to Kid Witness News students, hosting an ongoing series of workshops.
All of this is practice. Like whether you're good at something today, doesn't matter. You know, it's not like you have to be good at something right away to become excellent at it later. It's not always, you know, the genius who's good right away. A lot of times we mess things up and keep the camera off, and you know, and those people turn into really amazing artists.
Let's next decide how the program will look and the visuals we'll need. Set design is the creation and arrangement of scenery and props to set the mood or identify the location of the piece. As you can see here, set design also includes originality and creativity when using costumes and makeup.
In the years after the war, two enemies have also become friends. We should learn from these voices of the past to bring hope for the future.
Videography is the use of the camera to tell the story. You can see how it incorporates the building and developing of scenes, overall composition, movement, lighting and color. And don't forget the proper exposure, brightness, focus, and steadiness.
We are thankful for the voices of these Pearl Harbor survivors that help us have hope for the future.
You can use special effects to enhance the overall video production. Even something as simple as shooting in black and white can make a big difference.
My name is Noah Vimber. I carry a badge.
Try to produce videos that have an extraordinary technical look to make them sparkle and be visually attractive. Don't forget, writing is very important. Through the use of pictures and the written word, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, a great script allows the viewer to better understand the video's theme or message.
You're supposed to sit in the back. I'm sorry, there were no seats.
Sound is just as important. In addition to interviews and voiceovers, the use of distinct sound and effects can help create a unique and often spectacular presentation. The final step, editing. This is where all the elements come together: picture, sound, special effects, music, and voiceover. This is post-production, where the scenes are chosen, trimmed, and assembled in order to best tell the story in what we hope will be a smooth and entertaining way. Now comes the fun part. Now comes the fun part. This is where we take all the elements we've shot and piece the program together and piece the program together one segment at a time. We mix in the voiceover, music, and special effects to create the finished product, the Edit Master. Take it away, guys.
Before you begin editing, take a blank tape and put 35 seconds of black at the beginning.
You can do this by putting the tape into the camera with the lens cap on and recording nothing for 35 seconds. Then take that tape and put it into the digital editing deck. This tape will become your Edit Master.
Set the input select switch to DV for the digital camcorder. To set up the editing function, push the Edit menu button. You'll see 4 highlighted choices on the screen. Using the arrow key, move the cursor to Program Editing and press OK. In simple terms, we're going to assemble the program. So on the next screen, move the arrow key to Assemble and press OK again.
Now, press the player button and then the jog shuttle button and rotate the large outside ring in either direction to play backwards or forward, or the inner smaller ring to look at the tape one frame at a time. Search through the tape to find the beginning of the first scene. Once you find it, press Mark In.
Now, find the end of the scene and press Mark Out. Next, press the recorder button and then the jog shuttle button. Since this is the first scene after black, use the counter to cue the tape to 30 seconds in and hit Mark In. Now press OK.
Using the arrow key, select Start Assemble and press OK. If you need to stop the edit for any reason, press Edit Menu.
When the edit is finished, you can look at what you just did by moving the arrow key to review. To finish editing, press Exit. If you want to replace just video, keeping the original sound, or just audio, keeping the original picture, you can push either Video Insert or Audio Insert using the same editing method you just did.
Now let's get to work. We all hope that you find the Kid Witness News program to be an exciting, fun-filled learning experience. Maybe it'll be one that'll help you decide on a career choice. Good luck. I'll be looking for you at the Kid Witness News Awards. News. This is the newsroom itself, and what you can see is we have cubicles in here. Now behind here, this is where the reporters are when they are actually in-house. Imagine you work hard and you get a cubicle for your very own. But this is what they get. This is where they work the phones, they have their own computer, and they stay here for actually very little time, only to write their scripts. Most of the time, reporters are out in the field. Come on, we'll go around this way. I'll show you some more. In that area over there, we've got viewing machines. A lot of times when you shoot a story, you're not really sure what part of that story you really want to use. So you view the tape first so that you don't waste the time of the editor in doing it. Now in a smaller operation, the editor works with you to do it. But to speed up things, we have people who look at the tapes, pick out the most important parts, and then they know exactly where to go when they go in the editing rooms. This is the area where the writers sit. Now the writers are the people who take the stories that come in over the wires or stories that come out of the newspapers that we're not going to have a reporter covering. These are the parts that you see the anchor people on television reading. So these folks will be doing that, and they'll get the pictures for those individual readers, as we call them, and they'll make a script for the anchor person to read that goes along with whatever pictures they have. This is where the reporters are. In fact, there's one hiding over there right now. And the guy walking away is a cameraman. And Rob over here is actually a cameraman, producer, on-camera guy. He does it all. We can't afford to have more than one of them. That's why he's got the fancy office there. This is the news desk. Now, this is really the heart of the newsroom. This is where the assignment editors work. This is where the producers sit. They're the ones who, the producers, decide what story is going to be covered. They decide which reporter they want to send out on a story. And then it's up to the news desk to put a cameraman and a reporter together and get them to the scene wherever whatever's going on is happening. So we'll go up there and take a look at these guys. But usually they're answering calls from people who are calling into a news station. If you were to call a television news station, those are the guys that you'd be talking to. The calls would be referred right to the news desk because if there's an important story, they want to get on it right away. The writers have the same kind of office that the on-camera people do, the reporters do, except they don't have the barriers between them because they actually talk to each other.
We like each other.
They like each other. And they get donuts, which the reporters don't get unless they go out somewhere. Let me show you. We have 8 bays like this, bays or small rooms. And if you see in here, what they're doing is they're editing a story that's going to go on the air. And what happens is that you have, in this case, you have a writer working with an editor to make up a story. And what they're doing right now is they're viewing a tape to work together to decide how they're going to make this happen.
Most people, if you're not part of it, would never understand.
Okay, on this way. If your timing's right, you can get the last donut. This is the real behind scenes in here. So you come up, come on over here behind me, there, Hal. You can see. This is the news desk. As you can see, you've got assistant producer. What is your title on this? Copy editor. I call him the assistant producer. He is. And on the weekends, he is the producer. He moves over one desk. But what Pat does is, as the writers write their copy and they send it in on the computer, it's up to him to find it, read it, correct the English, hopefully catch any spelling errors or punctuation errors before it goes on the air. And over there, we're looking at the assignment editor. It's his job to put the camera crews and the reporters together and get them out to the stories on time, which means if they don't know where to go, he's got to make sure they have directions, he's got to make the contacts, he's got to do all of that. Over here is the feed room. We get videotape. It's sent out over satellite. We get what's called feeds, information, stories sent to us by stations all over the country, in fact all over the world, and it comes in. So this comes from the Fox News Network. We have sports feeds, and this stuff is all copied so that the sports guys have tape that they need for their show tonight, and also so that the news has it. And we can run it in almost any kind of format. So you can go from big tapes like this that we use in tape machines back to tiny tapes that are used in little small cameras. And Debbie here does it all. She knows all these little tiny tapes. She knows all the secrets. But she's not telling us, because then we'd automate the job. But again, you've got storage here. We've got copy machines. So this is an area where we copy tapes from all our different sources. And then we use the tapes on the air. And what happens is we label them, we keep the tape, and then after a certain amount of time, we erase the tape, relabel it, and use it over again. This is the sports department. They have lots and lots of room. They have their own fax machine. They have their own monitors. They have all the desks. They have Monica Pellegrini. It's amazing. Yeah, Monica, she's here. She came in for this shoot. Thank you, Monica. You're the best. This is the nerve center of the show when it goes on the air. There are locations for the director to sit, the technical director, the assistant director, and you've got the production staff that sits up on the upper deck, so to speak. I mean, if you look down here, this is where the assistant director sits, and his job is really to make sure that the timing of the show goes right. And what's really amazing in this high-tech period, you still use the stopwatch. Director sits here. It really is a titular position nowadays. I mean, at our shop, we have somebody who just sits here, and everybody else does the job around him, and we wake him up at the end of the show and send him home. Technical director has got the hardest job of all. He's got to know which one of these buttons to push and when, and he actually has to do it on time and in a sprightly manner. That has to happen when it's called for. Otherwise, the show can get pretty ugly in a very short amount of time. So this is a critical position. Hidden behind this soundproof wall is the sound room itself. How would you like to have a stereo like this at home? Take a look at all these buttons and knobs. From this hotspot, you control all of the microphones, both in the studio and out of the studio. For instance, if you're at a live shot, they'll control it from here. It controls the noise level, the sound level, of all the tape machines that feed into the control room. And it also will control things like phone lines that come in here. So they have monitors to show what's being shown on TV, and then they have the sound controls here. This is a brand new state-of-the-art board, so they can do a tremendous amount of work with this. It's all electronic. They can preset everything. This is where it all happens. And every day, guys will come in, they check the cameras for balance, make sure that everything is right, focus, and what we have in the set, location, anchor desk, is where the anchorman in our case, and the anchorwoman sit here. The sports people sit back over there, and the weather set is right here. And this must look pretty strange to you, just a plain blue screen, but this is what I work in front of. There's no real map behind me when I'm working. We do something called chroma key, and we take an image like this one, and in the control room, they actually are able to cut me out. When I'm standing in front of this, the computer in the control room will cut me out. Everything that's blue gets taken out, so they have me, and they can paste me on top of this image. And that's how you see it at home. It's one of the reasons why you'll also see people who haven't done the weather for very long or haven't worked with chroma key very much standing like this. They're talking about something over here, but they're standing over here looking at a monitor here because there's nothing there to look at. If you don't look over here to see what it is you're looking at, you don't know. You could be pointing here, but really meaning to point over there for the folks at home. When they first started doing chroma key, there was a trick they had because everything's mirror images. And what happens is that you have people wearing a ring on one hand and a watch on the other, and so they'd look at themselves in the monitor and they'd say, point with the ring hand. You really have the feeling that you want to do it a different way. Lastly, the cameras. Now, I know you think the anchors are really smart, and it's amazing how they do all those words. They just kind of come up with it, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the reason why they're so smart. It's called teleprompter. In more advanced studios, you have this kind of thing. In your studio, well, you're going to have to remember it yourself or put up cue cards. But what we have is a closed system of television here in the studio, and this is the monitor. This plays the information up. It bounces off of a one-way mirror right here, and behind that mirror is the lens of the camera. So while people are looking right at the lens of the camera, the words come up right in front of them. So you can look right at the camera and say things like, hip-hop fathers defend their dads at 11 or 10 or whenever you're going to show it. Anyway, that's pretty much the newsroom. And all the positions are pretty much the same in every newsroom. You always have a place where the reporters stay, whether it's got walls around it or not. You've got a sports area, you've got a weather area, you've got editing rooms, you have an assignment desk. In your own area, your own classroom, your classroom serves all of those functions in one place. And in small TV stations, they're not nearly as developed as this. You really have a small room. You'll have an editing machines off in the corner. You'll have people who will go out, but everything will happen in one place. And that's pretty much the way it goes. The bigger the station, the more rooms they put on. Well, hope you had a good trip.